One of Spike Lee's first joints, Do the Right Thing, a story about a sweltering summer day where anger, hate, and racial tensions reach a boiling point, is now 35 years old and is as relevant as ever. It's a film I've always wanted to talk about, and I wanted to make it in the style of a video essay to express my appreciation for it, but to also discuss the structure of the narrative. Extremely controversial, but critically acclaimed and a hit at the box office, many hailed this as one of the best films of the 80s, and it helped usher in an entire new generation of writer-directors, producers such as Monty Ross and Spike himself, casting director Robbie Reed, who'd later go on to cast for Spike in his later films Mo' Better Blues, Jungle Fever, Malcolm X, costume designer Ruth Carter, who would later go on to win Oscars for both Black Panther films, and cinematographer Ernest Dickerson, who later directed the 1992 film Juice. Spike Lee's own father, Bill Lee, composed the score for this film, as well as numerous other joints of his. Even more impressive is just how astounding the cast of the film is, and how Lee was able to combine up-and-coming performers, at the time, with legendary actors of both the stage and of the screen. There's a young Giancarlo Esposito as the always annoying, entitled, unemployed, yet politically motivated Buggin' Out, Rosie Perez as Mookie's profane Puerto Rican girlfriend Tina, a young Martin Lawrence in his screen debut with a strange lisp, John Turturro as Sal's ignorant racist son Pino, Bill Nunn in his second collaboration with Spike as Radio Raheem, Roger Smith as the stuttering Smiley who would go on to work with Spike for the incredibly underrated Get on the Bus, and let's not forget...
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out.
We have legends such as Frank Vincent in a small but memorable cameo.
Mo and Joe what? Mo and Joe what? Mo and Joe Black, how's that?
I guess he needs to get his own shine box now. The real-life couple Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee, who played DeMayer and mother-sister, who were able to use their real-life marriage and poke some fun at it. And of course, we have Danny Aiello in his Oscar-nominated performance as pizzeria owner Sal, but more on him in just a minute. For Lee's role as pizza delivery boy Mookie, his character is an anomaly, because he serves as both a passive and an active protagonist. His passivity is in the fact he's simply living life getting paid a small wage at his job, refusing to see anything wrong with that, and pretty much blatantly refusing to take responsibility for being a father. Instead of getting to the root of these issues, he resorts to his brash and often apathetic attitude towards life and those around him, which can basically be said about every character throughout this movie.
And you're right, I don't want to know your pain. I don't care to know your pain. You don't want to put yourself in this situation, man.
Dickerson's cinematic eye is on full display, employing a heat bar to simulate and capitalize on the brutal summer heat. The movie comes to life like an electric charge, with Rosie Perez dancing her tiny little body out to Public Enemy's Fight the Power. The soundstage background during the opening metaphorically sets the stage for the film, and her boxing gloves practically symbolize the roaring tensions just waiting to erupt. Everything in Do the Right Thing happens over the course of just 24 hours, and as a result of its unwavering timeline and sequence of events, the film is essentially one long, continuous, inciting incident, which all starts with Buggin' Out, complaining about the pictures on Sal's wall. A wall he most definitely would have seen if he comes into Sal's at least 3 times a day. While the irony of that situation is felt, it's always a scary thought for myself on repeat viewings of a film, knowing it'll be a character's last day and they're completely unaware. For Radio Raheem, this was going to be his last day alive. He woke up with the knowledge of, hey, this is just another day, not knowing he would not wake up the next. And even crazier is that the actor playing the cop who kills him was actually the son of Danny Aiello in real life. By making this a film set on just one block in Brooklyn, it feels both inclusive and exclusive. With the exception of Sal, none of the other characters are seen driving or owning a vehicle. This is what they know, and being stuck in any one environment can restrict growth, knowledge, and understanding of different people, cultures, and concepts, such as gentrification, which was on the high rise during this time.
Then why'd you move back to Massachusetts?
I was born in Brooklyn.
Most of the characters we see throughout the film do not have jobs, and while, yes, some opportunities may have been given to people with more experience, they refuse to take any action to get work and resort to either blame someone else or blame the system itself for their position.
Hey, man, when you gonna get your business? Huh? Yeah, just like I thought. You ain't gonna do a goddamn thing.
Do the Right Thing is a fictional story about the truth. It was very evident rewatching this that the people helping Spike Lee execute his vision were very aware of how powerful the film would be and how it would shed light on the rather taboo matter that we are all prejudiced in one way or another. Now, Spike Lee is not a filmmaker known for his subtlety. In fact, I'd say he has the subtlety of a sledgehammer. But I think it's a great thing because you're always aware of what he has to say, and even if you don't agree with it, I do think he is a filmmaker with a great conscience and a lot to bring to the table. Now, for Do the Right Thing, in the case of Sal, played once again brilliantly by Danny Aiello, there's quite a few subtle moments foreshadowing the end of his pizzeria. The scene between he and his son Pino is the film's midpoint, and Pino interjects how Italians should stay in their own neighborhood and blacks should just stay in theirs. Sal's replies through this scene are very crucial.
Can we sell this and open up a new one in our own neighborhood? There's too many pizzerias already there.
In that moment, despite his non-profane defense, you can see he has doubts and has contemplated leaving. But by the end of that day, he is momentarily swayed in favor of the neighborhood by how terrific it was for business. Remember, business, which is monetary gain. And that is the theme that ultimately connects Sal and Mookie together. It also plays a heavy hand into the pizzeria's downfall that night. The screenplay and direction by Spike delivers a pitch-perfect setup and payoff towards the climactic sequence between Sal and Radio Raheem. With just the sound of the radio booming in the background, everyone's heads turn, and we subconsciously know that control is being shifted. And Ernest Dickerson shoots the remainder of the scene with Dutch angles, further illustrating the intensity of the sequence. Now, the end of this film has been explained and analyzed pretty much to death. It's even been reacted to by Spike Lee himself about whether or not Mookie does the right thing in the situation. But my simple reaction is this: because nobody listens to each other, nobody does the right thing, and nothing gets resolved. It's a fundamental issue that still plagues us to this very day and will continue to separate people. Now, once we get to the actual end of the movie with the screen fading to black, we are treated to two speeches delivered by Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Despite a roaring contradiction towards the angle of violence, their passion and search for knowledge and unity were always felt, and the men were quite close in real life. In addition, and perhaps most important, they did not present the be-all, end-all solution for every human being that would just magically fix any and everything. And neither does Spike Lee. He doesn't know all the answers. All he can do is try to point people in the direction he believes to be the right one. Again, whether you agree with his viewpoints is entirely up to you. He leaves the audience with no clear winner or hero, and yet everybody is also a victim of the system, the environment, and of the inhumanity. However, if we can try to listen to each other and rid ourselves of our ignorance and apathy, maybe we can find the answers together. Thank you all for watching. I truly had a great time making this video to celebrate Black History Month and Do the Right Thing's 35th anniversary. If you'd like to learn more, there is a tremendous making of video that is in pristine condition you can find on YouTube. It is absolutely worth your time, as it not only shows how the film itself was made, but how the actors' analyses of their characters clearly inspired the screenplay.
Some people do think, you know, they have an opinion, and they try to get other people to think like they think.
I don't want to paint too pretty a picture for the guy and make him look like a flag waver that he's the world's greatest liberal, and I don't know if that's right.
I've known women like this in my childhood where I grew up in Harlem. You know, the street watchers who mind the children and everybody's business and who can tell you about who goes and who comes.
Some just plain unemployed, sitting around at the railroad station, and they would comment on the train as it came. They would comment on the train as it stood there, and then they would comment on the train as it left, as if they controlled the train.
Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, click the links in my social media pages in the description box, and most important, always do the right thing.
And that's the triple truth, Ruth.